Otherwise, I'll be covering all the core areas of EWM, which is
Yeah,
mandatory. And from there on, you can excel your knowledge on advanced topic as well.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
Nagarjan, just I want to interrupt you.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, as you suggested, I'm not looking that much in detail. Just I need a brief introduction of the uh, this EWM.
okay. Yeah. So most of the sessions are going to be, you know, a practice like kind of. I will do the configuration and I'll show you within the system. So you'll just have 20% of theory. I'm not, just taking you through details and it's all about, the transaction I'll be executing, and I'll show you the real time scenarios and how you have to, practice, etc. I can help you. So coming to the introduction of the EWM, as you can see, it's a extended WM, extended warehouse management, and SAP has come up with the solution in 2005, but it is included within the SCM component, which is supply chain management. And earlier solution was APO, Advanced Production Optimizer, Planning Optimizer, sorry. And within that, they have started this EWM as a included solution from the SCM server, and slowly they realized that it's not going to work like this anymore, and because of the more advanced technologies are coming into warehouse, like you have automated guided vehicles, and also you see uh, robots taking care of all the internal activities in the warehouse, and also conveyor systems where you will have the conveyor belt which is taking you from one location to other location, and there is an automatic retrieval and storage system that will take care of all this. So that is handled by basically the material flow systems. So to achieve that, SAP has decided, okay, if I just keep this solution separately as a standalone, then the solution will be very helpful, and it's more effective, because when you assign the work processes, and if your memory is being consumed by third parties, and you will have a lot of performance issues. So that to negotiate that, SAP has decided, okay, let's keep it separate, and they've introduced a standalone solution. And slowly they've everything is actually from the WM, and they've optimized it in such a way with a lot of advanced ad hoc activities to improve the performance. And then later they decided 2019 was the last time they said, like, we are going to stop WM support from SAP, but still they've extended it to 2025. But later on, after 25, I guess every SAP partner who is on WM will not have support, but still they can continue with the systems if they are on ERP already with the WM solution. So that's
Okay.
about the introduction. And I was just talking about this. So earlier, the warehouse management was within the ERP, and it is tightly integrated with the inventory management on the material management side, and shipping on the sales distribution model side. So the WM module is here, and if you just see the storage bins for the goods receipt, goods issue, etc., and it communicates to the actual bins, and then the internal activities are carried out. So it is within the ERP as a solution earlier, but now after the EWM, it has totally changed. So if you just look at that, the perspective of ERP is still here, because SCM solution or the EWM solution which they have brought is just to handle warehouses. There's no financial inventory costings, etc. They're doing here. So it's just a lean solution which only takes care of internal operations inside the EWM. There is financial impact or nothing on the EWM side. So that's why we are integrated still with the ERP. And the best part of extended warehouse management from SAP is it can communicate to multiple ERP systems, and it can connect to non-SAP systems as well. So that's the best
Okay.
solution, best part of why we have to go for extended warehouse management. is because it can interact with multiple ERPs as well as non-SAP ERP systems as well.
Okay.
If you just see inbound and outbound, inbound belongs to material management, and outbound deliveries belongs to usually the sales distribution module. So they are integrated with SCM server now, as an EWM solution is there on it, and all the operations are carried out here. And then every now and then, when you have created an inbound delivery, you will have the save replica on EWM system. So it's always two ways. EWM will sell information as well as it will receive the information. So that is how it has been defined here. And the next one is, what are the advantages of EWM over WM? So even though you're not coming from an SAP EWM background, but you guys have to know this, because in future you guys will definitely work on WM to migration from WM to EWM, right? So you must have to know what is the existing solution on EWM and what are the advantages that EWM has brought.
Okay.
So earlier, we also have handling units. So maybe you guys might have aware of what is a handling unit. If not, I'll be covering it later in the during sessions. So a handling unit, as well as a stock at the storage levels, and picking logic, placement strategies, removal strategies, replenishment. Replenishment is something, you will have a buffer area as well as a primary area. So buffer area is where your hot goods will be placed, because you'll have a demand where you have to meet them quickly, right? So that buffer areas are replenished using this replenishment solution that SAP has provided, and also RF technology that we already have in the WM. But apart from all the existing solutions, SAP has come up with many options in EWM. That is, first one is yard management, and you have deconsolidation. You have expected goods receipt, which is not available on the earlier WM solution, and it also can integrate with the labor management. So you'll be able to uh, use your resources or the labor efficiently. And then cross docking. So cross docking is nothing but you don't store the goods. Basically, you'll receive from one side, and if you have any orders, open orders to be shipped, you will send it outside immediately. You will not save it. That is called cross docking, and we have opportunistic cross docking in our EWM. And slotting and rearrangement. So both they'll go with each other. So slotting or whatever rearrangement is basically to let's say during Diwali season or Christmas season, you will have a lot of sales. So Diwali season, electronic goods are sold like in the market. It's too much of uh,
Yeah.
consumption, right? So what happens
Yeah.
is, like, for example, you want to buy a car, okay, and you went to the showroom and you got the quotation, etc. But he said, like, sir, I'll be able to only deliver after 45 days. So what you will do? So you have a sentiment to buy on that particular day, and you want to do it before Diwali. So you can't wait for 45 days, right? So if you go to a different showroom, he will offer, let's say, sir, I'll do it tomorrow itself. So whom will you prefer? The one who delivers you quickly, and who, you know, he's on his words, right? So that is what the whole business is. And this can happen only if you have a proper rearrangement and slotting, because using this, you will have to arrange your products accordingly to meet your customer demands. And definitely, during the season, during the hot sale season, what you will do, you have to be very prepared for that, right? And you have to deliver within a small amount of time, so that you capture a lot of customers, right? So that's how you have to handle the business. So that is also available, and that you can achieve with slotting and rearrangement in EWM system. So guys, one second. And then next comes up in the flow is the transportation management. So
Mhm.
on the yard management, so it is also integrated with EWM, and with that you can achieve a lot of results, because shipping and receiving happens to be from your transportation units, that big trucks, right? So you'll also manage them using yard management. And I was talking about ARSR,
Uh,
automatical retrieval and storage system.
Sorry to interrupt you. Uh,
Yes.
you said transport management is integrated in EWM. So here, the person just he has to know the knowledge of transport management, or he should have to work in TM module.
No, not required.
Not required.
It's when you master EWM, definitely TM is nothing but a very simple solution. But it's again a different module, and you have to
Mhm.
learn it.
Okay.
But when you learn EWM, that's fine. It's not required to have transport management knowledge as well. If you just
Okay.
can handle the yard management, that's fine. You
Okay.
can learn it, fine. When you start, and that's just the beginning of EWM, right? So you guys have to spend some time to understand the system, and then
Yeah.
slowly you can do the configurations. Because I will give you that confidence at the end of my sessions. You will definitely able to do it. But my only you know concern would be like you guys have to do regular practice and come up with questions if at all you're facing anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the next one is, as I said, like whole world is moving towards robotic technique and also automatic retrieval and storage systems. So that is also can be achieved with EWM. So that is done by material flow systems. Earlier it had a different technique, but now it is totally capable of handling the automatic retrieval system. So it's one of the biggest achievement of the EWM, which is now going to bring a lot of business. And people definitely look at this as an option when it comes to warehouse management. And it also supports voice picking, it also supports image pickings. And it EWM definitely, if at all you have any production integrated already in your warehouse, so you need weighing systems as well, right? So weighing systems are also different solutions provided by SAP, and even that are also connected to EWM properly. And then the next coming part is the resource management and the queue management, which is something like you have to use the resources properly, like manual resources. You will have forklifts, you will have cranes, stacker cranes. You can maybe as a part of your warehouse, you have all those resources. So you have to
Okay.
use them very intellectually, so that minimum your empty empty moments of the resources, maximum the utilization is, right? So
Uh,
the interleaving will take care of that. So it
okay.
means if a person is going for a put away is nothing but an inbound process where you receive the goods and you will take and place it in a storage bin, right? So if at all uh, a user or the resources has done a put away, and if he comes back empty hand, that means he is doing an empty travel, back forth, right? That means you're not using him properly. As soon as he confirms the inbound task and he confirms the put away, he must be assigned with an outbound task where he will pick the goods and he will come outside with the good. So that way you will use them very efficiently, right? That is done using interleaving. And it also supports unloading, loading of transportational units. And we also have value added services. So value added services are nothing but even though you have packaging specifications. So I've not listed in the agenda, but I'm also covering the packaging specifications during the training. So yeah, packaging specifications. Apart from that, also you will need certain special packagings during some special seasons. For example, your New Year and Christmas, you will send the greeting cards, or you will let's say for example an employer decided to gift a few gifts to the employees, right? So what he will do is he will order a bulk of, let's say, 1,000 mobiles, and he will say, "Hey, please pack a mobile phone along with a sweet box, along with a greeting card from our company, etc., and then pack it clearly and then distribute to our employees. This is the order. So with that order, it's a special value added service that we are giving customers, right? So if you do it as well, then definitely yes, customer will come back to you again and help you. I mean, give you a lot of business. So that value added services where you do the value addition to the packaging, that is also available in AWM, and it is done during the kitting as well as inbound process. You can also follow, because when you work in pharma industries, for example, you have a chemical and that chemical is poisonous, and that you have to store in house. But you have to be very careful that you have to do a proper packaging, and also you have to maintain the temperature data logger you want to see, because whenever before using the product in the pharma, what they will do is they will look at the data logger. So data logger will have the data for temperature, from what time to what time, what is the temperature, it will clearly precisely tell you, right? So those sort of advantages are there when you go with value added services. Even SAP will support that. So that's about the differences between the lean WM solution and extended warehouse management from SAP.
Okay.
So as I
I have
yes.
one question regarding this labor management. It is like it's using some separate transaction code to maintain labors, or it is connected to HR system.
No, it's not connected to HR. It's just the labor that you will define here. But anyways, that's an additional solution that EWM has given. It's
Oh, okay,
not
okay,
mandatory that you capture all your HR information, like time sheets, etc. Here, it's
okay,
not that system. It's you will handle the labor basically efficiently here. So, for
okay.
example, you have a put away, and this put away will take not more than 10 minutes, right? And this
Yeah.
labor management will help you whether your resource is doing it within the target time or not.
Okay, okay.
Sometimes to look at the efficiency of your labor, you will go for labor management,
Okay, okay.
right? So each task, how much time you will, let's say, you will decide based on the average. You will say, okay, this task is going to take 10 minutes, okay, and this one person is taking care of those tasks every day in and out, right? So after
Yes.
1 month, once if you want to evaluate, so within the labor management, you can just check how many activities he did, let's say 1,000, and what is the average, whether it is below the 10-minute or not, or it is above the 10-minute. What is the problem? What is happening? Whether he is healthy or not. So those sort of things you can carry out in the labor management. So that you handle it. So when you know that okay, it's being done within 7 minutes, the next time your target get reduced to 9 minutes or 8 minutes, right? So that is
Yeah.
how the labor management will help you to improve your efficiency. So within the
But
interaction part, yes,
customer, I think they use this labor management. Is it required or depending on
not
customer?
required. No, no,
Not
no, no,
required.
no, sir. Not required.
Okay, okay.
Not mandatory, but if you want to be very sure about your improvement on your warehouse, then definitely you can go for it, but it's not mandatory. But most of the big guns like Walmart and Amazon, other warehouses, they don't go for this. They'll mostly concentrate on the fast picking and the other parts where they automated retrieval systems do the efficient work. And you this interleaving I said, right? So you don't have to uh, configure labor management for those automatic retrieval systems, because it's all automation, right? So it's up to the business, or kind of business you're in, and you can decide whether you will go with it or not. So as I said, it started its journey from 2005, and over the years, it was actually integrated first at the you know SCM solution, but later on it came as a decentralized as well as a standalone solution. And every year, every release, they are coming with with a new solution in it, and which adds lot of value to EWM. That is what is, the solution is about. So they added this labor management in 2007, but still it's being used very minimal wise. But yeah, that's how SAP is. They'll come up with, the improvements in the existing solutions as well every release. So and the next option is, then the next topic is deployment options. So I was talking about SCM server, right? SCM is nothing but a supply chain management server. The first solution from SCM was Advanced Planning Optimizer. So that was in SCM. So SAP thought, okay, why don't we keep this WM inside that server, because they don't want to, increase the list of products which are, standing separately. So and both of them belong to the supply chain, right? So they merged them into one system, and this solution was, being used, and they're getting a lot of, performance issues, etc., etc. Then they decided, okay, let's keep this solution aside, because they have seen a lot of business coming in the future. So they decided, let's go with the standalone approach, where the efficiency of your warehouse increases and also the performance issues will reduce. So that's the reason they come up with a standalone solution. And nowadays, HANA is a buzzword for all the SAP world. So within the SAP HANA, they also come up with an embedded solution. So within the S4 system also, you can have this EWM solution, right, as an embedded solution, and you will decide whether you want to go with decentralized, or you want to do an embedded system, embedded EWM. So within the S4 also, you have those two options. So I hope this is clear. So SCM server was the first solution, and then it was a standalone solution, and now you also another option for embedded EWM in S4 system. So in general, the big companies, big guns will go for a standalone. As I said, like the performance and the number of volume of data that you daily do is will decide which system you will prefer. But if it's a very straightforward and a lean system, and you don't have to do a lot of this and that in your warehouse, yes, they can go for an embedded EWM solution as well within the S4 system. So it all depends on the volume and the number of hits that you're going to do in your daily life or daily business. So that
Uh,
decides your yes, Amit.
yeah, that embedded EWM, like currently customers are using.
Yes, it's on S4, and yes, whoever has a lean solutions in the WM, or small warehouses where they can handle, yeah, they're going with embedded
But
EWM.
maximum are with the middle one, like which is a standalone.
Standalone, yes, yes. So big guns like, as I said, Walmart, Amazon, and Philips, Samsung, HP, whatever clients I know, and Robert Bosch, and Merck,
Yeah.
Caterpillar, and these are all the big guns, right? They just go for bigger solution with no headache for the performances. So they just stand with the standalone, just because they don't want to club both the systems. So what will happen? I'll tell you. If you have a standalone system,
Mm-hmm.
I think that within your warehouse, you just deal with the warehouse activities. You're not worried about sales. You don't worry about any other stuff, which is carried out in your ERP, right? So if you just stick to this standalone, you have only consuming the memory, consuming the resources within the server only for your particular warehouse. It's not
Okay.
dependent on the other system, right? So the result will be quicker, and you don't have to wait for any memory refresher, which allows you for a quick results, right? So if you have a standalone, definitely you will have the results very quickly.
Means you want to say that housekeeping is minimal here.
Yes, housekeeping I won't say, but yeah, See, sir, in realistic world, if I have to take an example, you're traveling on a road alone and you have a four-wheeler. So your performance will be quick, right? You will reach your destination quickly. And if at all you have others also receiving to the same destination or going to the same destination, you'll have a lot of traffic jams and you end up going little late. So that's
Okay.
how you can relate with your real world.
Okay. Okay. But now, like only few customers are using like going with SCM, this EW part of SCM.
Embedded. Yes, yes, sir. As I said, 2019 is what they have planned for, uh, uh, stopping the support for Debian. But now they have extended it to 2025. Until 2025, they will support the existing Debian systems also. Afterwards, everybody has no have to move if they want SAP support, and they have to migrate from WM to EWM, right? So in that process, if there is an S4 system already existing, you can't force your customer to buy something extra, right? For extra cost. That's the reason they gave an option. If you want to go for an embedded EWM, just do it in your S4 system. You don't have to again buy a standalone, or you have to go for SPM server. I also see a few clients where they have their ERP running on S4, but they still connect to a decentralized standalone system. This
Okay.
is also, so I'm just telling you how different it can be when it comes to decision. Like, even clients will ask, I have this requirement. You
Yeah.
suggest me which solution is better for me. So you have to do all the R&D, and you have to see what is how much of volume that is coming in and going out, and you also have to have some technical idea on the memory, how it is consumed, and etc. So that you'll decide. Okay, guys, we have a very lean and very simple warehouse, so that is fine. I don't want to go with additional implementation cost and support cost. So we'll just stick to whatever is existing. That's fine. So it all depends,
Okay. Okay.
right? So, sir, any implementation, any future maintenance is definitely a cost incurring solution, right? If you have that in your mind also, and you don't want to invest a lot of money on the support, then definitely you will decide, okay, let's not make it separate and handle it separately. Let's club it so that he will have benefits. Because any service company which is coming into the market, they'll say, okay, you guys have a separate system, and then you have to maintain that as well. So that will be for an additional cost. So
Yeah.
likewise, even customer will think, right? Okay, why should I give such an option? If at all, my operations are a little less, and I'll manage with whatever lag or whatever performance issues, that's fine. But I don't want to pay a lot of money for that. So they'll just stick with the one single system solution. It all
Okay.
depends on the customer's requirement.
But as you
And
said,
then,
it's a better
uh,
option for the customers.
pardon?
The standalone system is good for the people who are handling large volume of the
Yep,
material.
yep, yep. So I work for a client when I was in Deloitte. Their daily average inflow was 100, 100 goods per 1 minute. Just imagine 100 hits on the system for 1 minute. So they have such a huge, inflow. It's from morning 9 to 5, but after 5, there's a little less volume. But during the day, 9 to 5, sorry, I was telling 1 minute, right? It's not 1 minute, it is 1 hour. So 1 hour, they're receiving 100, shipments. That is the average. So that's why they stick to the decentralized, because, they don't want to make a truck wait for so long because of system issue, right?
Yeah. Actually, I
So
work
that's
for
fine.
a former customer. They have the, as you said, they have standalone system. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a integrated one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
it's communicating to our ECC through inbound outbound processes.
Okay, okay. So I guess you might have idea of ERP as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
okay.
SDMM, but my core profile is a BI analytics.
Sir, I lost your voice.
No, my core profile is with like it's a BI analytics, SAP BI
Oh, yeah.
reporting
Oh,
tool.
okay.
I worked like as an independent consultant for SD and MM module.
Okay, okay. Then you'll be making a lot of understanding from this class. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Next comes up is your data transfer between ERP and EWM, how it will happen, and how things will be flown from one system to other, and what is is it a single direction, unidirection, or a bidirectional? Is explained in this picture. So what is it that we have to concentrate on here? So data transfer, anyways, and since you already have a background idea of systems, plant, shipping point, customer, vendor, material master, these are all master data, right? So this master data from ERP is sent to EWM system using a core interface, and it's a unidirectional transferred, because you just send the master data information from ERP, but you won't receive it to ERP from EWM. So what is core interface? A core interface is nothing but it's a solution that was earlier with uh, which was introduced in supply chain management when APO was introduced. So since the evolution of EWM is from the SCM solution, that is APO at the beginning, they had the same they left this part as a core interface, for the master data, right? And apart from this master data, you also deal with daily and inbound documents, outbound documents, and what are the transactions that you do on ERP side. They'll be replicated in EWM, because when you create an inbound delivery for a purchase order, right? What will happen? An inbound delivery gets generated on the EWM as well. It will have a business object in between that do the replication part, and that replicated new inbound delivery in AWM is a different. It will have a different parameters altogether. It's not like what we have in inbound delivery on ERP side. So it has its own different transactions to handle it, right?
Yeah.
So when you perform the inbound delivery activities, so at each step, for example, during the goods receipt must be sent back to ERP, right? So that once the EWM does the goods receipt, the same should go back to ERP. ERP should do a 101 moment type, and it should update its stock, right?
Yeah.
So it is a bidirectional, and this is happening using queue based interactions, that is QRFCs, queued remote function calls. So it is a bidirectional, and it can flow from ERP to EWM and EWM to ERP.
Yeah. Actually, as
Right?
I said, I work for that former customer. So
Mm-hmm.
we have the outbound orders which is going to EWM, and they are confirming. Then they are sending the inbound orders from EWM and confirming the invoice.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So there is all
Okay.
mismatch of the
Yeah, that's
stocks and
it's always bidirectional between the systems. So it is an two-way dialogue from EWM and ERP.
yeah.
And then this is just described here again, the same pictorial diagram. So the master data is distributed using core interface, and your rest of the daily transactional data, that is sent from queued RFC calls.
Okay.
And I just again gave the same diagram here. So for example,
Yeah.
you have a delivery on the ERP side, right? And once you have the delivery, you will send information to EWM. So on the EWM, what you will do an internal movement of the goods. So once you do the internal movement, that should get updated on the ERP as well, right? So that
Yeah.
will happen in the second call. The first call will just replicate the delivery. The second one, once you do the stock movements, it will send back to the ERP. So ERP will update the stock information.
Nagarjun, one question I have, like these deliveries are there, right, from ERP, outbound deliveries. So
Yes.
in my previous projects, which is the pharma customer, they were sending a file on application server, and application server is picking up or transferring it to EWM, and vice
Okay.
versa. So same process is followed now also, or is there any tool or interface is using in between this EWM and ERP?
No, sir, actually, maybe you might have a custom solution there, but here
Yeah.
it's straightforward. As soon as you create an inbound delivery on the ERP, a queue will go to CM server, that is EWM, and it will replicate the same delivery
Okay.
on the EWM side. And once it is replicated, that information should also be with the ERP, right? That so and so linking is there, and etc. And once you do the internal movements, like you finish the goods receipt on the inbound, that is the majorly the final endpoint in the M, right? When for the inbound. So once you do that, what you will do, a material document gets generated with 101 moment type, and your stock located in your storage location. So similarly, once you confirm the goods receipt on EWM, EWM will send this information. Hey guys, I have received the stock. So it will go back to the ERP and say, okay, I have to do an 101 moment type, and it will update its stock.
Okay.
I'll tell you an example also. No, sorry, my configuration for this class, the one which I'm taking, is not yet done. Otherwise, I would have shown you one example how it happens.
No, not much detail, because I already worked. That is the reason, because actually, as you say, that mine is a custom one, and we are writing a file on application server, and always there is a problem of missing that file.
Maybe because of holding the data that your application server is. But for us now, the queued RFCs are something which will take care of this. Between the systems, we will set up a distribution model. So that distribution model, as soon as it realizes the storage location belongs to EWM in an extended warehouse system, it will send the business object to EWM and replicates the delivery.
Okay.
Okay, there's a distribution model in between that handles this. If you ever seen the distribution model in BD64, if you have worked on iDocs, you will be knowing this.
Yeah, I know that iDocs flow in BD64. So.
And that's similarly, we have some business objects here within the model that we will maintain, and as soon as system realizes whether it's an inbound delivery or outbound delivery on the ERP side, if this is an EWM managed storage location, it will send the information to EWM. Okay, guys, I have a delivery. Please replicate on your system. That's it. The system will.
So no need to worry about this interface or middleware.
No. It take care of it. And if at all you have any issues, let's say for example, you have a complaint from ERP saying that I've created an inbound delivery and it is not available on the EWM. So where you have to look? You have to look into the QRFCs, where SM-Q2 is your inbound queues. On the EWM side, you have to go there and see what went wrong. So you will correct your master whatever on the queues and execute it again. It will replicate. It will be creating.
Yeah. That I think yes, Q1 some transaction code was there. SQ1.
SM-Q2 and
SM-Q2. Like because I was executing those blocked iDoc manually.
Okay. For iDocs, we use BD87, but this is totally different from iDocs.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So, and on the EWM processes, inbound process, outbound process, internal movements like handling the material flow systems, handling units, generating barcodes, resource management, and also physical inventory. It is also available on EWM system, and evaluation and planning with is something, the labor management, delivery monitor, So on the EWM side, there is a very robust solution, that is monitor. You can monitor your inflow, outflow, who is working, who is free, etc. from the monitor. That is a good solution that this monitor, the EWM gives you. I will show you that once we start working on uh, configuration and generating inbounds, outbounds. I'll show it during the classes in future. So next, coming up till here so far, we just talked about the connection, communication part, and then what is the process that are there on the EWM side. Now comes the structure of EWM. So how the structure of EWM look like is very straightforward and very clean, because otherwise on the ERP side you will have a lot of structures where on the MM also you will have the plant company code, and you will have purchase organizations assigned when it will be done otherwise at the plant or company code level or somewhere else. There are so much of organizational structure on the other sides, right? But in AWM, it's very straightforward. You have a warehouse number, which is the first and the foremost in the organizational structure, and the next one is the storage type. So storage type is nothing but within your storage warehouse, you will divide your warehouse into different storage types, because you will deal with cold storage rooms. You will deal with uh, a huge or long pipes. For example, the automobiles will have such requirements. So they'll have a different set of products which will go in different areas and different sizes, different shapes, right? So that's the reason we will segregate them along with the storage types. And if I just take a classic example, and you might be seeing it each every day, that is a supermarket. If you go to a supermarket, you will have like peripherals, milk, and dairy products are kept in fridge. Fruits and vegetables are kept in separate area, and all your consumables which are ready to eat are set in one place, and your groceries are kept in one place, and your cosmetics are at one place, and at the counter you will have levers, right? The levers will have chocolates, which are very easily consumable, right? So those are the techniques to attract the customers, right? So they are, you can consider each of them as a separate storage type, because
Okay.
we will handle them precisely. Because if I have to, let's say for example, season for groceries is basically during January to March. You will have people buying a lot of rice, because
Yeah.
that is the time when we get the rice from the farmers, right? So what will you do is you want to handle it properly at that time, and you want to maintain the stock properly. You want to do the replenishment. So what you will do, if at all it is a separate storage type, my system will help me to do this quickly, right? When
Yeah.
system will create a warehouse task, it assigns to the your resources. Resource will go and pick from the godam, and he will bring it here and just put it there. But likewise, to do the efficient work, you will have you will segregate your warehouse into different storage types. For example, a few warehouses where you will have different levels. For example, take apparel shop. So they'll have, for example, Reliance has 5 floors. One is for kids, one is for women, next one is for gents, and the other one is for, let's say, electronic items, and the other one is a supermarket. So I just segregate them separately. So kids storage type is separate, and within the kids, ethnic wear is a separate section, and regular wear is a separate section, and your the other stuff like school going stuff, or
Yeah.
apparels like shoes, chappal, etc. They'll go into a different section. So how
Yeah. Yeah.
in normal life, the same thing that we will do in the system using storage sections.
Yeah. As,
And
as I
next,
said, in DMart, we have different sections like groceries one section, clothing one section, and
yes,
shoes, bags. There are different sections in DMart. And as
yes, yes.
in a cash counter we have chocolates, chewing gum,
Yes.
cigarettes, so that these people
Yes.
like when they are in queue, they will pick it from there.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So it is something called continental belts, or it can be a cantilever racking, for example. So I'll just show you one sample here, which is called continental belts
Mm-hmm.
storage type. Okay, just image is taking some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here it is. So this is one type of storage section, or you can maintain it as a storage type separately. These side of them you will see at the near to desk, or a rubber manufacturing companies will have this, or if you go to a specific apparel showroom where only boots for particular, for example, if you have ever visited a Royal Enfield showroom, you will see this separately, where you will just see those additional apparels like a helmet and
Yeah.
jackets. They're hanged here. So this
Yeah.
is a conventional continental, sorry, belts,
Okay.
or you also have other type of storage types like cantilevers. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give you an example. So if you are working in a manufacturing industry, you will be knowing this already. So if you have a big rods and you want to
Yeah.
keep them, you will place them here, and it will start here and it will end here. This is one area, one storage bin, and there is one more. Likewise, you have a different requirements for different products, which comes in different shapes and sizes. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason we segregate them using storage type. And within the storage type also, you can segregate using sections. Like as I said, for kids, you will have different areas where you can cover all those things using sections, or separate them using sections, right? That you will do using storage sections. And what is a storage bin? A storage
Yeah.
bin is nothing but it's a physical location of your stock. So where exactly is your product? Your storage bin will tell you.
Okay.
If you look at storage bin, if you have a storage bin already, and you know the precise location of your product, you don't have to worry about any other stuff. If you have the storage bin
Yeah. Yeah.
number, and
Yeah.
what is a quant?
As you said, in DMart, they have a storage bin where they keep all their stocks.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So to just give you a little idea of how it looks like. Mm,
Because this Shubham is there, right? They have the cloth shop, so
okay,
he can relate in a better.
okay. So this is a bin. To just see, uh, here we have three bins in one level, right? So you
Yeah.
can call this complete set of three as a one single bin, and divide them into different. And I'll explain that in detail later, because it will be too much information on one particular topic,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it will be a mess basically. So this is a storage bin. You call it as a storage bin, and the whole area you can call it as a storage type. And this side of area, for example, you just only keep vegetables, and this side you will put only fruits. You
Yeah.
can separate them with sections. Fruit section separate, uh, and vegetable section separately. You can manage.
Yeah.
So this is how it looks like. And quant is nothing but what is the quantity of the material of the product, that we call it as quant in EW.
Yeah.
It's nothing uh, much about the quant, but it's nothing but what is the quantity that you have on the storage bin. So I just briefly described what is warehouse, what is storage type, section, storage bin, right? And next comes the integration part.
Mm-hmm.
So how the systems are integrated. So how ERP is communicating to EWM. We have seen how it will communicate, but when ERP will identify that yes, okay, I have to communicate this to EWM, is using this integration. So there is some EWM linkage that we have to set up, And system will identify the combination of plant storage location. So you might be knowing this if you already have knowledge, but otherwise, a plant is nothing but an entity that is, the highest level in side, and on top of that, you also have the company code, but it will have financial calculations, etc. But side, the highest unit is plant, and in the inside that you have storage location. The storage location is in turn assigned to the warehouse. So this is a pre-existing architecture, or let's say organizational structure on the ERP side. But what we will additionally do here is we will link the ERP warehouse to EWM warehouse using a setting. And within that setting, we will mention, yes, this is an extended warehouse management warehouse, and it should communicate using QRFC, and it has to send the data immediately. So there's one setting that we do. And as soon as you generate an inbound delivery for a purchase order, for example, what system will do, it will realize, okay, this plant and storage location belongs to so and so warehouse number, and this warehouse number is connected to extended warehouse management, and then it will send this using that BD64 business object. It will replicate the delivery. So this
Yeah.
is how the system is integrated. But I'm not going into here. You'll just see what is it. But when we do the structure, even the enterprise structure, you will understand it.
Yeah.
And next comes the connection setup, how the systems are connected. Since both the systems are SAP solutions, we just create a logical system. Logical system is assigned to a client, and you will set, what is the release of the APO. Basically, it still look, in the system, it still is an APO release, but we already moved to EWM because at the beginning of the solution, they were having a APO in the SCA. That's the reason we have still the same thing, and it is not changed. And set up RFC destination. So RFC destination is something which will allow you to access the other system, and setting the target system and the queue type. What are the two queue types that we have is inbound and outbound. So how you will optimize the solution, or how to carry, you will set up here the queues. So this is the connection that we do on the ERP side. And on
Yeah.
the EWM side, we also have to do the connections, similar connections you have to replicate. And, they will set up the logical system. Logical system is assigned to the client and RFC destination. And we also have an additional, setup that is required, that is business system groups. So
Okay.
this I will explain clearly when we do it. And a logical system and a queue types. So it's something what we did in the ERP should also be replicated again in the EWM, because it's a connection, right? Connection.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you
It's RFC
give the
connection.
proper email, if it's I'm just giving elaborating statement here for Shubham to understand. So while
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sending an
Fine.
email, if you give a proper email ID, then only it goes to the proper DNS server, and from that server it will identify, okay, there's one email ID with a valid credentials, so I have to send this to that particular email ID. So this will be similar, right? So you don't have to do anything. You have to give the proper connection or proper email ID. So to communicate between your Gmail and my Gmail, right? So it's just
Yeah.
the same nature. You will send it from one system to other system, but other system should also have the same sort of setup to receive it. So it's about the connection part. So, and there is one interesting stuff here, that is business system group. So I'll just give a brief idea what does a business system group means. So as I said at the beginning of EWM, advantages, EWM can communicate with multiple ERP systems, right? So
Yeah.
you have a business system group defined, and you assign this business group system to that particular logical system. So based on the business system, I can tell which ERP system it is coming from. Okay.
Mhm.
The only reason being having this is, if we have only one warehouse, and one ERP system. This doesn't make any difference for us. But when the warehouse is capable of handling multiple capacity, if the capacity is too high and it can handle multiple ERPs, then this comes into picture and it will tell us, okay, it has come from ERP system one, and this comes from ERP system two, and this product has come from ERP system four, five, six, etc. So business system group is something which tells us which ERP system it is coming from.
Yeah.
And then next comes the organizational structure on the ERP. So ERP, we will define plant, storage location, and then shipping point, warehouse. We will assign the plant to shipping point to the plant, and then you will have this combination set of plant, storage location to warehouse, and warehouse specific parameters. We maintain that it is a EWM specific warehouse, and you also have to set up the goods receipt point determination, shipping point for outbound deliveries, maintain delivery split indicator. If it belongs to a different warehouse, system has to split the delivery. And the distribution model I was talking about, where you will set up this BD64. It will have business objects. Business objects will have to uh, the luxury of sending it and replicating the data. And next one is maintaining EWM linkage. So there is two settings that we'll do. We'll first assign EWM warehouse number to ERP warehouse. And there is one more thing that we also do, that is we will specify it belongs to an, they both are different settings, but we will set up this for the same ERP EWM warehouse number.
Okay.
Okay, that about the ERP side organizational structure. And on the EWM side, I showed you, right, warehouse number and storage type, storage section, etc. Right. So and apart from that, we also have few other important setup or the organizational elements that we have to define. I have highlighted those here. So warehouse number, warehouse number is nothing but our premises that your warehouse is. Will assign some number to it, and that number you call as a warehouse number. And warehouse control will have let's say what is the unit of measure, what is the default unit of time that I'm going to use, what is the default warehouse process type I'll use for packing, goods movement, internal activities, etc. They're all defined there. So we will look into the system uh, when we will customize that. And next comes the supply chain unit. Supply chain unit is nothing but uh, it will tell us the exact geographical location as well as the nature of warehouse. So,
Mhm.
for example, in warehouses, they only do the goods receipt. They won't do goods issue. So the supply chain unit will set up only goods issue office, sorry, goods receipt office, and you will just assign this to your warehouse. Then if you look at the SEO, you will understand. Okay, this warehouse just receives the goods. It doesn't do any goods issue, something of that nature. And then what is a party entitled to dispose? Party entitled to dispose is nothing but a plant vendor. So plant vendor in on EWM side, we need somebody to have the you know ownership for any product, right? Because we deal with a lot of ERP systems, and we also deal with a lot of plants stock as well. So the plant vendor, we call it as a party entitled to dispose. That is uh, that is it about the party entitled to dispose. And also we have to assign the EWM to ERP warehouse number, and we also have to maintain the number ranges. And there is one more thing that we also have to do is availability group setup. Availability group will be, it's something a one-on-one connection from EWM to uh, storage location of ERP. So it's a one-on-one relation. I will also show that later, and when it comes to the organization structure on the EWM side. So that is about today's class. But before ending and taking any questions, I wanted to play one small video,
Mhm.
and This video will show you how a warehouse internal process will be, or let's say the receiving process will be looking like, and you can ask me questions afterwards.
Okay.
You guys will not be able to listen because I'm on mobile now.
Okay.
You just look at the picture. So the truck is coming into your warehouse, and the
Warehouse.
other the surrounding area around the warehouse, maybe this whole area, it's yard, right? So this is handled by yard management,
Yeah.
and these are doors of the warehouse. So this is, for example, they are going here. So it is an inbound door. So truck will go inside this, and it has two different handling units of different nature, or you can consider them different products, two different products in multiple cotton boxes. So the warehouse clerk will come as soon as the truck arrives. He will, from the truck driver, he will have the ASN, the advance shipment notification. And what he will do, he'll cross check from which vendor it is coming, what are the products that are received, etc. And then he will unload the truck. So once he unloaded, he will place the stock here in the staging area for a certain time. Right? This is called when it's a temporary storage where you keep the stocks for a little ample amount of time before your forklift driver comes up and picks your pallet, and he will place it there. So this area is called staging area. This is a temporary area for your stock. For example, just to take a realistic example, you go to shopping, you go to DMart, you will buy a lot of stuff, and as soon as you come home, you will come from your door only to inside your home. So only one option, the door. You'll come inside. What you'll do, you'll place all your shopping bags close to your either dining area or somewhere. You can later segregate them, right? So you place the stock there for certain time. You will just get fresh up or something, or somebody in home will take your goods, and they will segregate, right? They'll segregate fruits, they'll segregate vegetables, they'll segregate groceries, cosmetics, etc. And each of them have dedicated storage bins already in our home. Like your groceries goes to groceries boxes, your vegetables goes to refrigerator, fruits goes to refrigerator, your cosmetics goes to whatever place they are belongs to, and your cloth goes to wardrobes, and your soaps, etc. They'll go to your washroom, etc. Right? So that's how
Yeah.
you do the segregation. So once you place it there, that means you've finally finished your put away process. The same thing, if you that is a realistic example, but same thing if you look at in the warehouse, they have received the stock in the truck, and they are mixed stock. So now that what they did in the staging area, they segregated it. Right, the white ones are on white, yellow ones are on the yellow one, and then finally, what he will do, just look at it. He will identify which location they have to go.
Means it's that location detail will be tracked through device, right? Like where we
Yes,
have.
yes. Yeah, it is connected to SAP. It's an RF device.
Yeah.
Before he do that, he prepared a handling unit, and he has given one identifier to those handling units. And then he's checking where he will place, because L01 should go to L dedicated area, and white should go to white dedicated area. So he's
Okay.
is looking for a white one, which is 923, and he's identifying where he can place it. So once he
Okay.
has system in the particular location, the forklift will have an idea, right? Before it starts, it has an idea. It will pick the stock, it will go there, It will do the put away and it will confirm the warehouse task.
Okay.
So this M2.03 is your storage bin, and system will update this information accordingly. And whenever you have a requirement for this product, system will suggest this storage bin. Okay, guys, we have this product and so and so 923 handling unit, and this handling unit has these much stock.
Okay.
So this is about the receiving and doing the put away. So you have to basically divide the divide your put away into different steps. The first step is doing unloading. From the truck, you will do unloading. So unloading where you will do from truck, you will keep it in the staging area. So staging area is the second part. And next, after staging, you have to segregate it, right? So you will take this HO to a deconsolidation work center. Their work center, within the work center, they will do the packing, required packing, because if you receive the goods from vendor without packaging, then definitely you want to do your package, right? So you might deal with those products or you will deal with handling units. It's up to you, but based on that, the deconsolidation will do the packing. And once the packing is done, you will similarly have these identifiers like 923 or 965. These are handling unit numbers. So once you have these handling unit numbers, uh, you know, you will place them on the respective bins. That's about a put away process. I'll show you, in the system when we complete the configuration, and I will, take real-time examples, and I will make sure you will understand what I'm demonstrating.
Okay.
Yeah. So any questions, or you guys have any other topics in your mind?
Shubham, do you have any question?
नहीं ना अमित जानो कुछ नहीं
कुछ नहीं है ना, ये तुम्हारा क्या बोलते हैं, कपड़े का दुकान है वैसा ही है ये भी।
हाँ
फर्क ये है कि तुम मैनुअली करते हो, ये सब कंप्यूटर में करते हो।
वो समझ आया
Nagarjun, really this
Hello?
presentation. Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah. This presentation is really good, very simple and understandable person. It means it's easy to understand it. And you gave all the at least high level processes like followed in EWM. That's very good. And that last picture which you shown video, that is really where we can link that.
Yeah. I'll see whenever I can take an example like this. I'll definitely play a recording and I'll make you understand what I'm explaining. And as I said, most of the time, 80% will be working on the system. I only depend on the configuration that we do and the realistic example that we will work on the hands-on. I don't depending on just based on the slides. I don't finish my sessions. At the end of the sessions or the complete training, I will make sure that you are comfortably working yourself on EWM for sure if you practice.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and that's it for the day. So, guys, have a nice evening, and hope to hear you guys soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Nagarjun.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. So I'm disconnecting from this call. Subbu, still you are there?
अमित ऑफ गेले ते
Okay, fine. Then disconnect कर.
ఓకే.
యా అమిత్ చెప్పు అంకుల్.